I never said a word. Not when I saw the messages, not when I found the hotel receipts, not even when I discovered the scent of another man lingering on our bed. She thought she was clever, covering her tracks, playing the perfect wife in public, wearing that sickly sweet mask of devotion. But I knew. And I let her think I didn't. The night I left, it was quiet. I packed a single duffel bag, took my passport, and vanished before sunrise. No dramatic confrontations, no rage-fueled accusations. Just silence. The kind of silence that drowns a person in their own guilt. I wanted her to wake up and feel it, to call my name and hear nothing but emptiness. I imagined her confusion when she found the note I left on the kitchen counter. You'll understand soon enough. No explanations. No closure. Let her suffer. I disappeared from her life completely. Changed my number. Deleted my social media. Moved to another city where she'd never think to look. She didn't deserve a goodbye. I spent the next year rebuilding. At first, it was about survival, learning how to exist without the weight of her betrayal pressing against my ribs. Then, it became something else. A hunger. A need to make her feel the devastation she had caused me. I didn't want her dead. That would be too easy. I wanted her ruined. And then, as if the universe had decided to reward my patience, she found me. She found me exactly 1 year after I vanished. It started with an email. A simple subject line, please. I almost deleted it without reading, but curiosity got the better of me. I clicked. I don't know if this will reach you. I don't even know where you are. But if you see this, please. Just talk to me. I need to explain. I need you to understand. Understand? I already understood. She had lied, cheated, and betrayed me without a second thought. She had played the loving wife while spreading her legs for another man. And now, after a year of silence, she thought she could spin some sob story and make it all better? I didn't respond. But I didn't delete it either. A week later, another email. I deserve your anger. I know I do. But I just need to see you. Even if it's only once. Even if it's just so you can tell me to my face that you hate me. Hate? No. Hate was too simple. Too clean. What I felt for her was deeper than that. More calculated. More patient. Still, I ignored her. But she didn't stop. A month passed, and then she escalated. She must have gotten desperate because one evening, I came home to find her waiting in front of my building. She looked different. Haggard. Thinner. The arrogance and cruelty she used to wear like armor had been stripped away. For the first time, she wasn't the untouchable queen who manipulated people like chess pieces. Now, she was just desperate. And I savored every second of it. She didn't see me at first. She was pacing in front of my building, chewing on her thumbnail, something she only did when she was nervous. I stood in the shadows, watching her fidget, drinking in the sight of the woman who once destroyed me now looking like she had been the one abandoned. I almost wanted to laugh. Finally, she spotted me. Her breath hitched, and for a second, I saw something raw in her eyes, relief, regret, fear. Good. She took a hesitant step forward, and for the first time in a year, I let her hear my voice. What the hell are you doing here? Her lips trembled, and she swallowed hard. I needed to see you. I leaned against the brick wall, arms crossed, giving her nothing. No warmth, no kindness. Just cold indifference. Why? She let out a shaky breath, glancing around like she thought I might drag her into the building and slam the door in her face. Not a bad idea. I'm sorry, she whispered. For everything. A slow smile crept onto my face. Not because I forgave her. But because I had been waiting for this. Everything? I echoed. You'll have to be more specific. Her face twisted with shame, but she still wouldn't say it. Wouldn't admit what she did. Classic. I shook my head, laughing under my breath. You can't even say it, can you? I made a mistake, she choked out. I know I hurt you, but I never stopped loving you. Oh, now that was funny. I took a step closer, towering over her. You love me? That's rich. Is that what you told him to? She flinched. Her eyes darted away. Guilty. I let the silence stretch until it became unbearable for her. Let her stew in the weight of her own disgrace. Then, I dropped my voice to a whisper, close enough that she could feel the venom behind it. You destroyed us. And now you're here, begging? Tears welled up in her eyes, But I didn't care. I wanted her to cry. I wanted her to break. She reached out, whether to touch me or plead, I didn't know, but I caught her wrist in a bruising grip. Her eyes widened in shock. "You don't get to touch me," I said coldly. "Not after what you did." She looked so small now. So weak. It was intoxicating. I could have told her to leave. Could have walked away and never looked back. But that wouldn't be enough. She had ruined my life. Now it was my turn. She was breaking, and I wasn't done yet. For a year, I had imagined this moment, her standing before me, stripped of all her arrogance, desperately clawing for redemption. And now that it was happening, it wasn't enough. Not yet. I released her wrist slowly, watching her rub the skin where my fingers had been. Red marks. Good. Let her feel it. "I don't believe you," I said flatly. Her eyes shot up to mine, pleading. "I swear, I cut her off." "You swear? Like you swore you loved me while you were screwing him? Tell me, did you think of me at all while you were lying to my face?" She swallowed hard, tears threatening to spill, but she still wouldn't say it. Wouldn't admit it. So I tilted my head, smirking slightly. "I bet it felt good, didn't it? The sneaking around. The thrill. Lying to my face and thinking you'd never get caught." She shook her head furiously. "No. I regretted it, I swear. I was stupid and selfish and—" "You were a whore," I said, my voice razor sharp. She sucked in her breath like I had slapped her. I didn't care. She deserved this. I let the silence stretch before speaking again, my tone eerily calm. "Why are you really here?" She sniffled, swiping at her tears. "I lost everything. There it is." The truth wasn't that she loved me. The truth was that she needed me. I folded my arms, pretending to consider her words. "You lost him?" She nodded, looking down. He cheated on me." I let out a low, humorless chuckle. "Oh, the irony." She bit her lip, silent. "Let me guess," I continued. "You thought he was different? Thought you two had some kind of twisted fairy tale love story? And then what? He tossed you aside like the garbage you are?" She squeezed her eyes shut, her body trembling. But she still wouldn't fight back. Because she knew I was right. I leaned in close, lowering my voice to a near whisper. "You should have seen your face that night. When you woke up and I was just gone." She looked up at me sharply, guilt and regret warring in her eyes. "You thought I'd scream," I mused. "That I'd beg, that I'd fight for you. That I'd let you keep playing me for a fool." I smirked. "But I was always smarter than you thought, wasn't I?" She didn't answer. Couldn't. I straightened up, running a hand through my hair like I was debating something. Then, after a long, drawn-out pause, I said the words that would seal her fate. "Maybe I could forgive you." Her breath hitched. You could?" I nodded slowly, my expression unreadable. "But it's not that simple." Hook. "You broke something in me, and I don't know if it can be fixed." I exhaled, like I was genuinely struggling with my emotions. "But if you really mean it, if you really regret everything, then maybe we could try." Line. She swallowed hard, hope flickering in her gaze. "I do. I really do." I let out a slow sigh, pretending to wrestle with my decision. Then, finally, I nodded. "Okay," I said softly. "Let's talk. But on my terms." She nodded eagerly. "Anything." Reeled in. She had no idea what she had just walked into. She was desperate, and desperation makes people stupid. That's what I was counting on. I watched her carefully, every twitch of her fingers, every nervous glance. She was waiting for me to take her back, waiting for me to be the man she had ruined and yet was somehow still willing to forgive her. I was never that man. Not anymore. I sighed, rubbing my temples like I was struggling with my decision. "If we do this, if we even try, you need to understand something." She nodded quickly, eager, like a dog waiting for a treat. "I'm not the same man you left," I continued. "You don't just get to waltz back into my life and pick up where we left off. You need to prove yourself. You need to earn me back." She swallowed hard, hesitating only for a moment before nodding again. "I will. I swear, I'll do whatever it takes." "Oh, sweetheart. You have no idea what that means." I made sure to hesitate, let the silence hang thick between us, let her sweat it out. Then, finally, I sighed and said, "Okay. But we take this slow." Relief flooded her face. She almost collapsed from the weight of it. "Thank you," she breathed. "Thank you." I gave her a small nod, like I was still unsure. "Let's get dinner. Tomorrow. We'll talk. See where this goes." "Anywhere you want," she said quickly. "That's right. Anywhere I want." The trap was set. The next evening, I chose a restaurant that was well lit, expensive enough to make her nervous, but not so fancy that it felt like a celebration. A place where people went for quiet, serious conversations. I arrived early. I wanted to see her walk in. She was trying too hard. A tight dress that screamed "look at me," makeup done perfectly, but there was something off about her. She wasn't the same confident woman she had been before. Good. That's exactly how I wanted her. I didn't stand up when she arrived. Didn't offer a smile. Just watched her sit down, awkward and uncertain. She fidgeted with the menu. "This place is nice." I didn't respond right away. Let her feel the weight of my silence before finally speaking. "Why did you do it?" She blinked, clearly caught off guard. I told you. I was stupid. Selfish." That's not an answer. My tone was flat, uninterested. "Why him? What was so special about him that you threw everything away?" She looked down, gripping the edge of the table. "I don't know." "Where?" She flinched. I leaned forward slightly. "Tell me the truth." She took a deep breath, then exhaled shakily. "I felt wanted. He made me feel special." I scoffed. "And I didn't?" Her eyes shot up to mine, wide with panic. "No. That's not what I meant. You were." She stopped herself, biting her lip. "I was insecure, okay? And he knew exactly what to say to make me feel good. I wasn't thinking." "You weren't thinking," I repeated coldly. She nodded. I leaned back in my chair, crossing my arms. "You know, I used to think you were the smartest woman I'd ever met. Turns out, you were just easily manipulated." She bit her lip, eyes glassy. "Good. Keep breaking." The waiter arrived, asking if we wanted to order. She barely glanced at the menu before muttering, "Just a salad." She was too nervous to eat. I smirked. After the waiter left, I leaned in just a fraction. Just enough to lower my voice. "You said you'd do whatever it takes to fix this." She nodded instantly. I tilted my head, studying her. "Would you really?" She hesitated. "Only for a second." I smiled, slow and deliberate. "Good," I said, leaning back. "Then let's see how serious you are." I had plans for her. And she had no idea just how badly she was going to regret ever coming back to me. She had no idea what she had just agreed to. I let her sit there, nervous, fidgeting with the hem of her dress, while I slowly ate my meal. I barely acknowledged her. Didn't give her a reassuring smile, didn't offer small talk. She had to earn my attention now. When I finally set my fork down, I glanced at her untouched salad. "Not hungry?" She forced a weak smile. "Just nervous, I guess." I chuckled, swirling my drink in my glass. "You should be." Her breath caught. I leaned forward, dropping my voice. "Tell me something, and be honest this time. If he hadn't cheated on you, would you be here right now?" Her throat bobbed as she swallowed hard. She hesitated. Then, finally, she whispered, "No." I smirked. "At least you're honest." She looked away, ashamed. I let the silence stretch again, watching her crumble under the weight of it. Then, casually, like it was an afterthought, I said, "Give me your phone." Her head snapped up. "What?" "You heard me." She blinked rapidly, hands gripping her lap. "Why?" I shrugged. "You said you wanted to prove yourself. I want to see something." She hesitated. Then, reluctantly, she reached into her purse and slid the phone across the table. I picked it up, leaned back in my chair, and began scrolling. No passcode. Foolish. First, I checked her messages. Nothing interesting. Then, her call logs. And finally, I opened her photos. There was nothing there. She had wiped it clean. "Deleted everything, huh?" I mused. She bit her lip. I just wanted a fresh start." I smirked. Where? She had deleted everything because she didn't want me seeing proof of her past. I opened her email next. My eyes scanned the screen, and then, there it was. A draft. Unsent. Addressed to him. I miss you. I hate how we ended. Please just talk to me. I chuckled darkly, turning the screen toward her. You sure about that fresh start? Her face drained of color. I never sent it. But you wrote it. She looked down, completely deflated. I watched her, drinking in the sight of her broken, humiliated, ashamed. Then, slowly, I placed her phone face down on the table and steepled my fingers. You want to fix this? I said smoothly. She nodded. Then prove it. She blinked. How? I reached into my jacket pocket and pulled out a spare phone. A cheap burner, nothing special. I slid it across the table. This is your new phone, I said. No social media. No contacts except for me. You'll use it for everything. I want to know where you are at all times. Her eyes widened. But I cut her off with a sharp look. You want my trust back? Then give up your privacy. Let me see what you see. Answer when I call, reply when I text. No hesitation. She swallowed hard, staring at the burner like it was a loaded gun. You said you'd do anything to fix this, I reminded her. A long pause. Then, finally, slowly, she nodded. She picked up the burner, fingers trembling. Good girl, I murmured. She had no idea that I was about to make her life hell. She took the burner phone like it was a cursed object, hesitating before slipping it into her purse. Her fingers trembled. She knew this wasn't normal. She knew she was giving up something essential, her freedom, her privacy, but she was too desperate to resist. That's what made this so perfect. I watched her carefully, sipping my drink. Now, delete your old number. Her breath hitched. What? I smirked. You heard me. Right now. She swallowed hard, looking at her phone like it was the last lifeline to a world she no longer belonged to. I could see her mind racing. Could see the internal battle in her eyes. If she refused, she'd lose me. If she obeyed, she'd lose control. And that's what I wanted. After a long pause, she inhaled sharply and tapped at her screen. A few swipes, a few confirmations, and then she looked up at me with wide, uncertain eyes. It's done, she whispered. Good. I leaned back in my chair, studying her. How does it feel? She forced a small, nervous laugh. Like I just cut myself off from the world. I smirked. No. You just cut yourself off from your past. That's what you wanted, isn't it? She hesitated. Then, slowly, she nodded. Liar. She wasn't ready to let go of the past. She was only doing this because she thought it would get her back into my good graces. She thought she could earn her way back. She had no idea that was never going to happen. I wasn't rebuilding a relationship. I was dismantling her. Step 1, isolation. I made her dependent on me. I called her at random hours, making sure she answered every time. When she hesitated, I reminded her of who she was trying to prove herself to. I kept her away from her friends. They weren't there for you when everything fell apart, were they? I would murmur over the phone. I bet they judged you. I bet they whispered behind your back. And the worst part? She believed me. Within a week, she had stopped reaching out to them. Within 2, she was apologizing to me for ever questioning my requests. Within 3, she had stopped speaking to anyone else at all. She was mine. And I was just getting started. Step 2, humiliation. I needed her to feel her shame. To wear it like a second skin. So, one night, I gave her a simple task. Write down everything you did to betray me. She stared at me in horror. I don't think I can do that. I raised an eyebrow. Then leave. Her lips trembled. Her fingers clenched into fists. And then, slowly, she reached for a pen. The first few sentences were shaky, hesitant. But as the minutes passed, as the memories surfaced, her handwriting became more frantic. By the end, she was sobbing silently, her tears staining the ink. I picked up the paper, scanning it. I lied. I betrayed. I destroyed. I deserve this. I smirked, folding the page neatly. Now, read it to me. Her entire body stiffened. I can't. I leaned back. Then leave. Silence. A long, excruciating silence. And then, in the smallest, weakest voice, she began to read. Every single word. By the end, she was broken. And I wasn't done yet. She thought she was in control. That's the funniest part about people like her, they think they can lie, cheat, betray, and still manipulate their way back into safety when things go wrong. She wasn't sorry for what she had done. She was sorry for what she had lost. And I was going to make sure she lost even more. I played the perfect role. The hesitant ex, the wounded man who still had feelings for her but was unsure if he could trust her again. Every time she thought she had won me over, I pulled back just enough to keep her on edge. And in the process, I slowly guided her toward ruin. First, I cut her off from everyone else. Not through force, not through orders, just carefully placed words. Are your friends really happy to see you back with me? If they actually cared about you, why didn't they stop you from making that mistake in the first place? You don't need them. You need to prove yourself to me. It worked too easily. She stopped reaching out. Deleted old contacts. She isolated herself willingly. Then, I went after her money. I planted the idea of a fresh start, moving somewhere new, building something together. She latched onto it like a lifeline. I want to prove that I can be better, she had said. That I can build something real with you. I played along. Encouraged her. Let her make the first move. She emptied her savings for a new apartment in my name. She took out a loan for a business venture I suggested, something she thought would help rebuild our future. The whole time, I made sure nothing tied back to me. Her money. Her name. Her choices. And then, the final blow. I made her believe we were finally ready. That we could be together again. I set up a weekend getaway, booked a nice hotel, had her thinking this was the moment we finally left everything behind. But when she arrived, I wasn't there. Instead, she walked into the hotel suite to find evidence. Every lie she had told, every betrayal she had committed, all printed out, laid across the bed like a crime scene. Screenshots of her texts with him. Bank statements showing her own money vanishing into nothing. A note at the center of it all. Now you know what it feels like to lose everything. And just like that, she was done. No money. No friends. No future. No me. The moment she walked into that hotel room and saw the evidence, I knew I had won. She called me, over and over. I didn't answer. Then came the texts. What is this? Where are you? Please, talk to me. I don't understand. Why are you doing this? I smiled at that one. Because she did understand. She just didn't want to accept it. She thought she could lie her way out of this like she had always done. But this time, there was no one to manipulate. No one to blame. She was alone. The financial collapse. The next day, I made sure the damage spread even further. Since everything was in her name, her credit, her accounts, it didn't take much to pull the final string. She had taken out loans believing we were starting over together. But there was nothing. No investments. No business. No apartment. Just debt. She called the bank in a panic, trying to undo what had already been set in motion. But the problem was, she had done it all herself. There was no fraud. No crime. Just her own choices, trapping her. Her credit? Ruined. Her savings? Gone. Her financial future? Dead. She couldn't even go back to her parents, they had cut her off long ago after what she did to me. I had made sure of that. Public humiliation. The final touch was making sure everyone saw her for what she was. I sent a carefully worded email, to her boss, her coworkers, her remaining friends. I thought you all deserved to know the truth about the person you think you know. Attached were the receipts. Screenshots of her texts. Proof of her cheating. Bank transactions showing the money she had burned trying to win me back. I didn't embellish anything. Didn't need to. The truth was already damning enough. By the end of the week, she had lost everything. Her job? Her reputation. Her last shred of dignity. And then, when she was at her lowest, when she had no one left, I finally answered her call. She sounded broken. Her voice, once sharp and confident, was now hoarse from crying. Why? She whispered. Why would you do this to me? I let the silence stretch. Let her sit in her own ruin before I finally answered. You did this to yourself. A choked sob. I loved you. I laughed, low and cold. No, you loved using me. And now you're just upset that I played the game better than you. She inhaled sharply, like I had punched her. I was trying to fix things. No. You were trying to fix your life, not what you did to me. You only came back because he left you. If he had stayed, you never would have thought twice about me. She didn't respond. Because she knew I was right. I sighed dramatically, pretending to consider. You want to know the real reason I did this? A pause. Yes. I leaned in, my voice almost a whisper. Because you deserved it. Another sob, this one ragged, painful. I smirked. Good. Feel it. You stole from me, I continued. Not money, something worse. Time. Trust. Love. You took everything I gave you and spit on it. And now? You have nothing. Her breathing was erratic. She was barely holding it together. What? What am I supposed to do? I pretended to think about it. I don't know. Not my problem. She started to say something else, but I cut her off. Oh, and one more thing. She went silent. I smiled. Never contact me again. Then, I hung up. And just like that, she was erased.